The way that we farm, we do not pollute neither the air, nor the soil, nor the water. And in this way, we really preserve natural resources that everybody needs.
In the dry climate of southern Spain, a German couple are trying to turn back the clock to a traditional way of farming. In 1996, Hans-Gert Neglein and Ernestine Lüdecker bought a 600-hectare cork and livestock farm near Seville in a bid to create a year-round model for sustainable farming.
The sustainable way of producing is that there are no costs for the society to make up for the harm that you do for it. So if you do intensive farming and you pollute the air or the water, or you kill all the bacteria in the soil, that's not sustainable. If we really want to be able to produce food in a natural way in the next 100 years, we have to go back to the natural processes, copying them, without spoiling any or polluting any of the resources.
Cork trees are central to Hans-Gert and Ernestine's blueprint for sustainable farming. 20,000 cork trees, old and new, are scattered across the property.
This cork tree we see here, it's I guess 150, 180 years old, and this has been peeled lastly in 2006. You see the 6 here. And after 9 years, there's the next peeling taking place. That means in 2015. The most important thing, I mean, for a good cork tree and good cork quality is a good soil. And you have to take away all these bushes here and all this stuff here around, because every bush is in competition as far as water resources and mineral resource concerned. And this bad and good cork immediately reflects in prices.
The cork trees are a key factor in the farm's breeding of livestock, cows, sheep and pigs. The trees stay healthy because of the animals, and the animals stay healthy because of the trees.
The function or the role of cows and sheep is to mow the grass. It's very important to have no high dry grass. Bushes that would grow around the trees would be a competition to the trees to grow, which we need for the production of shadow and acorns later. And also the sheep is the absolutely best fertilizer, the excrement of the sheep for the land.
Each production element of the farm is interconnected. The philosophy is to work with nature in such a way that each element supports the environment's natural balance.
If we have a good forest policy here on our farm, we produce good acorns, we produce shade, the shade produces more grass, the acorns are good for our pigs, the grass is good for our sheep and our cows. So the indirect measurements to really improve biodiversity revert again into our productiveness.
Si queremos conservar la biodiversidad,
if we want to preserve biodiversity and the environmental richness of species, and at the same time have activities related to livestock, the livestock management should be focused on maintaining biodiversity of life.
The intense heat during the summer months in the Seville area has led to a revival of the traditional method of moving sheep to a partner farm in northern Spain. From June to September, the hot, dry weather causes the grass to become tough and less nutritious. So instead of feeding the sheep with expensive fodder, the flocks graze on healthy grass in the cooler northern climate.
The moving of the sheep from south to north and north to south, apart from being economically beneficial because you use the resources where they are at the time they are there, also helps nature conservation.
Sheep management in the north is the first step for the conservation of the ecosystems. They are base prey for some animals like wolf. They are base carrion for another more endangered animals, which are brown bear and bearded vulture. It might have a little cost, maybe 0.5% of the herd, but the herd will be much more healthy because they're not into summer hot in here, and that will be much better for the animals. It's good for the herd and it's good for the production also.
On nearby forestry land, eucalyptus trees are grown. This intensive method of only growing one tree species shows what happens when production is out of balance with nature. The natural richness of the soil is lost, inevitably leading to soil erosion and, in the end, loss of production. In contrast, on Hans-Gert and Ernestine's farm, their strategy of preserving a healthy biodiversity has led to a rich soil creating a varied plant and animal population, including birds.
Some 3 or 4 years ago we had here an inventory of birds in just a small part of our finca, and there were counted 60 different birds breeding here. And very close from here, about 10 kilometers south, there's a monoculture of pines. They found only two species.
We produce biodiversity in the sense that we keep up the number of species in plants and in animals that would disappear if we were producing in an intensive way. The whole food chain is being restored by our way of farming, starting from insects, bacteria in the soil, birds, any rare species in plants and animals is integrated into our management system.
The examples that we are seeing here in managing the livestock and in general applying sustainable methods to traditional farming are not only applicable here. It could be here, in the north of Europe, or in Africa or South America.